So, you join us back for another Tinkering Tuesday on this cold, miserable Saturday. It does confuse me to keep saying Tinkering Tuesday, because we never actually film it on a Tuesday. That's when you guys get to see it. So, it's something a bit different today. We're not actually on the workbench for most of it. We've got a slight issue with our Saladin Armoured scout car. She's sitting a bit funny at the minute, because she's jacked up at the front. We're also trying to sort out some play in the steering. But here she is. She is a 1959 Saladin Armoured Scout car. She's a Mark II. So as you're about to see, she's powered by another Rolls Royce engine. You'll notice a theme here with the military vehicles, especially this era. They're all Rolls powered. But I suppose they never really give any trouble, do they? They just kind of work. So this one, we changed the head gasket on middle of last year. So she's now at the right amount of hours, so we retorque the head. And she's just developed a bit of a misfire. Now, I always tell people that if you've got a running problem with a B series, it's the points. And if it's not the points, well, go back and do them again because you did them wrong. So let's test that out. Engine deck's open. If Josh lifts the oil cooler up for us. So it's probably quite a good example of military engine bays, because it's a bit small, compact, and it's easier to get around than some of the battle tanks. So they cram this stuff in so tight. There's hardly room to swing a cap. So we've got a set of fans here and radiator, and they draw air from inside of the hull and atop the louvers, and then throws that out the back here. We've got a set of air filters there with the carburetor. Obviously Dizzy's there. Oil filter, that has a spin-on conversion. So if anyone's running B series, them spin-on conversions are awesome. Also, as you notice, the military, they always struggle for space of where to put the fuel tanks, and they always end up in the engine bay. So we've got one fuel tank here, and the other one there, which is notched out for the exhaust. So she does get a tad warm, but never causes much issues. Though I reckon our offending article is there, the distributor. So it's a neat little trick you can try with these. They are a twin set of points. So there's two sets of points, and it's generally one of them decides to go on a break. So there's a little trick you can do to try and see if that is the issue, by pulling number 1 and number 2 spark plug off. As you pull number 1 off, if the engine revs drop, your issue's on your fixed set of points. Pull number 2, your issue's on your moving set of points. So let's give that a try. Turn it over for me. That one is sparking. We had a spark on number 1. Now we're looking to see if we've got a spark on number 2. Typically, it does sound like it's fixed itself, but knowing B series, it's probably better just to clean up the points. We'll still set up the Dizzy, redo the points, and then torque the head down. That's about right, that is. We noticed she developed a misfire. We were out on a charity job. We were at Swaffham Raceway for their Help for Heroes race, and we led the procession of cars around, and that's when she developed a misfire, which echoed round massively that Bangers track. Time we get in the workshop, it's fixed itself. Yep, that's about right. Right, so we'll get the rocker cover off, torque the head down first, and then set the Dizzy up. So our first job being to get the rocker cover off. I can't quite remember the torque pattern. Is the book in the office or in here?
So that is the rocker cover off. As you can see, here's our rocker shaft, all the rockers for the inlet valves, and to tighten the head studs this has to come off because well, you can see there's a lot of the head studs are actually underneath the rocker shaft, so we need to undo all these, but we have to make sure they're done evenly because obviously the valve, there are open valves, and they will have spring pressure pushing up, so you got to do it evenly so it all just kind of gradually comes up, closes all the valves, and then we can lift that off as one big assembly, making sure it doesn't or spontaneously disassemble itself, because it can do with these springs. One of the things that makes the B series a B series is the parts commonality between the 4, 6 and 8 cylinders. So essentially what we've got here is 2 4-cylinder rocker shafts bolted together. And also these do have, I don't know how well that picks up, but a funky shaped washer that locates in pedestals. There's like a slight countersinking to them essentially, so it locates the pedestals on that rather than just on the studs.
So here comes the rocker shaft. I took this out once, it spun to pieces, I lost all the bits at the bottom of the hull.
So, rocker assembly is now off, so I can now get to all the head studs, and as you can see, there is lots of them. And they all have to be torqued up in a specific order to make sure that you don't warp it or anything and you don't mess the gasket up. And I don't remember that off the top of my head because there's lots and lots and lots of bolts. So we've got the book. As you can see, there's a nice diagram just there. I almost remembered it right. I said 36 foot-pounds. I was a little high though. So actually what the official number is again on the book in that paragraph there, and it's 400 to 425 pound inches. So by the time you divide that down by 12 to get pound feet, it's about 425 is 35.4 pound feet. So we've gone down to 35 because it is a range. So we're going to be a little on the higher end, but still in it is the best way to do it really. So yeah, I'll set this back up on the stand and crack on. Yeah.
While Josh is talking the head studs up now then, so now we sort of get a few more comments going in the comment section. Last week we sort of worked out what people do as hobbies, and that's quite interesting to read through. Where are we all from? So we're Norfolk, UK. Whereabouts in the world are we all from? Another thing we've done is we've turned on the, after a couple of requests, we've turned on the memberships to join the channel on YouTube, and you can now press the super thanks if you want to donate to the cause. We don't expect anyone to sign up, but there was a couple of people that asked if we could turn it on, so that is what we have done. Anything we do raise through that will go directly straight into the projects themselves and making videos, whether we buy some lights or better camera gear eventually, and just bits and stuff for the vehicles we're working on. Well, that's all the head studs retorqued again. I don't think any of them actually needed retorquing, did they? They were all still tight, which is a bonus. Our next job is to sit the rocker shaft back in. So as you know, anything going into your engine, you need to make sure it is Clean. I know it's just come out, but let's give it a little bit of a clean. Right, I should give that a wipe over. If you can't clean it with brake cleaner, you ain't used enough. That's my set of the day anyway. Now it's time to put the rocker shaft back in. They are just a little bit fiddly. Right, we'll tighten that up. Our next job being now is we need to get the distributor off so we can set the points up on that. So we'll take that off and then we'll set the tappets. We'll do the dizzy first. So we'll send Josh in there now.
So you join me back up in the engine bay, and I have had a little bit of a head start because the top half of the distributor I had to take off to get the rocker cover off. So we don't need the top half, but on these it's actually just done. There's 3 little captive nuts here on that they swing out. So you just undo it, slack them off, swing them up, and then the top half comes off like that. Say we don't need this bit, so I'm just going to move it to one side, and the bottom half, say, is 2 nuts right underneath, just on top of the exhaust. That's really so where they bolt in, so you can't really see it.
Right. Here she comes. What? Over to the workbench. Let's get some lights on. So that's better with a bit of light. So distributor on the workbench. So this is rotated around with the camshaft, which means it turns at half engine speed for our 4-stroke engine. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. So this is the pointer, and she points to 8 individual posts on the distributor cap. So as that lines up with one of these posts, 8 being, bear in mind it's an 8-cylinder engine, that lines up and the spark jumps the gap, heads on its way to the spark plug. The other interesting point on the rotor arm is here. The rev limiter on these engines is this here. I can't. Anyway, that's spring loaded. That comes all the way back and earths a spark out on the back of the rotor arm. So as this turns round, you got this square that rotates round and then opens the points. Open, shut, open, shut, open, shut. The gap on these points is particularly important because that does alter the voltage. So our problem, as you see, we've got one set of points out, and if the camera picks that up, which I don't think it's going to, there's a big burn mark. So we need to clean that off. Right, so we cleaned this side up easy enough on a whetstone. So we'll stick a bit of mineral oil on. Get him to the edge where I want him.
Josh with his calendar.
I don't want to hold the calendar.
Josh has just informed us that if you look at a calendar before the start of the new year, you've got bad luck the rest of the year.
Normal for Wyndham.
That's true.
So I'm wondering, how do they make calendars? Is the factory just really unlucky? Poor calendar factory has been struck by lightning 3 times, 2 tornadoes, and some sort of mad cow disease. Or they're all blind. All the workers are all blind. Can't get unlucky if you can't see the calendar. I'm just wondering how this works. My hands are too cold to do this. They generally are.
Josh ain't cold.
No, Josh is not cold. Josh doesn't feel the cold.
He said he's not cold, but he had a cold shiver down his spine.
For just £5 a week, you could sponsor us, there you go. I'm joking. This is Josh. We can come back to a minute. The whole point's been... He's stoned the whole point, set of points away. There's nothing left of it. Is that alright? And even then he'd be like, I can
go further.
I could have cleaned that up more. I could have cleaned that up more. So while he's doing that, Josh, we can prove that this set of points is working. So as they contact, beep, and then they open, we break contact. So that set is working, and that has been adjusted to 10 val. How do we get on with this one? Because I can't feel my fingers, I'm potentially just whetstoning the end of my fingers away. And I wouldn't be able to tell. So we screw him back on. When this was built, someone got really excited because even that one's been painted red. I don't undo it. I do want that bit. I've lost where he was. No, I don't. Insulator. Tiny little screws. Right, washer. Spring washer. Nut. I actually in a pair of gloves. That pair.
I offered them back.
So as you can hear, that's pinning out, so as we shut them, creates a circuit. The beeping is it creating a circuit, continuity between the points. So, now we need the gap to be 10 thou. We're all the way open, so we make sure we're on the largest point, or right on the point of the lobe here. We're currently a bit big. As I wind it, you see the gap opens. As I go back the other way, it shuts. So all I'm doing is now got a feeler gauge in here. Happy with that. Double check. Yep. Double check again. We're open and shutting. We'll chuck it back on the engine now and show you how we time it. Here comes Josh. Oh.
Let's see, which action is he going for?
We'll do a full circle so we come back out this side.
Yeah.
He's in. He's in. He's in even further. Give him some pointers.
It's alright, he's in there somewhere. He's in there somewhere. You've got an audience.
I need to have a turret, don't I?
Okay. Squeeze the two red handles together.
Okay, now I know where they are.
Right, so, escape hatch. Just appreciate this, because this isn't a faff to do. this is purely so you can see what we're doing inside.
Yeah, you've got to go out that way though, Josh.
Yeah, screw that.
No.
I can't get out that way.
Get out of here.
I can't get out of that, mate.
Got me in the turret. We're pointing at the water tank. The flywheel is buried down here somewhere, so this needs to come out. Luckily, that just lifts out. Like so. Let's get this off first. Pop that in the other seat.
Buy some frozen peas. Is it cold enough in there that they stay frozen?
Yes. Yes, it is. Melt as well. It gives me access to this little plate in the corner here, which should.
Right, so Josh won. The panel is out.
Yeah.
Now, in theory, he should be able to see the flywheel.
I can indeed.
Right, so we pass the camera to Josh.
So, my torch in a way that you can see. There's a little line stamped in the case in there, and then there are lines on the flywheel. Slow. We're now late by a bit. So do like 270 and then stop. TDC.
So I guess we go halfway between the two.
Yeah. There.
Yeah.
Is where I'd say. So, you joined me back up in the engine bay, and we realised we did a little bit of an oopsie.
Yeah.
It's correctable though, because
We got excited, got carried away.
yeah, the base, the bottom half of the distributor keys into the drive shaft from the camshaft. That kind of makes sense. Obviously, there's a shaft that comes up. Half of it stays behind in the engine. Half of it comes out with the distributor, and that can be one of two ways round. And we want it to not be the wrong way round. So I'm just taking the top of this off because in the high tension end, I'll take this cap off.
So, because the Dizzy is completely waterproof, which is one of the reasons it's insulated and waterproof, why I could hold the HT lead, and then we got the spark when we were first testing for a spark, means there's no caps, like your normal push-on fittings. So the fittings in the top of the distributor cap itself, which Josh is now getting to, is different than most people have seen.
And there's all our HT leads, and they all go to different, all the contacts underneath, and the centre one is all the power in. And number one is that short one just here. So he's actually, when I flip that over, the rotor arm wants to be pointing towards me. So if I carefully put that back on. Okay, so remembering that I want my pointer pointing towards me and not away, and I can see that that can't go too. I can see there the key for him is. This is a awkward faffy bit. There you go. That wants to be pointed there.
Those of you that are used to distributors, you obviously turn the body to advance and retard the timing. As you saw, we turned the engine over until we were at somewhere between top dead centre and 2 degrees after top dead centre, and that is the firing position for cylinder 1. So now we bolt the dizzy back in, and with the points, 2 points on the in the dizzy, while we want the fixed set, we turn the dizzy just until the contacts just break, which we do whilst testing continuity. The second they break, that is then set correctly, timing's good, and she'll start up and run a dream. Rather than just giving it the whole turn it until it sounds about right. It's just as easy to do it properly. We're just getting ready for that now.
There.
Right, so Josh has now got to bolt that up without turning that at all, which is a bit of a faff, but he's expertly done this several times before. We send Josh into a place like this because I don't fit particularly well, you could say. So yeah, as you saw, we just turn that until the contact's just open, so the multimeter stops buzzing continuity, and she is good to go. So we'll get that bolted down tight, get the cap back on. Right then, well, as you had noticed, our timing is set after top dead centre, which is a bit unusual. Well, it is one of the requirements for the Saladin and Saracen and Stalwart, which is the range of the Alvis vehicles, is to be able to start on a hand start. Now, when you start a big 8-cylinder Rolls Royce engine, if that was to kick back on the starting handle, that's going to start breaking your wrists, and if you've got your thumbs the wrong side of it, it's going to break your thumbs. So what it does is the timing set after top dead centre, so it kicks the starting handle away from you. Once it's started, the advance in the distributor is used at 200 RPM, which is below tick over, that brings the timing back before top dead centre. One of the important things of the B series, if you didn't personally set the timing, or know that it is damn correct, don't put your starting handle in and try and start it. So, moment of truth. Josh here enters the cold hole of doom. It's cold. It's bloody cold tonight. Don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but it's bloody cold tonight. Just a little bit. So, let's come round to the business end.
Ready?
Yep.
Are you on throttle?
Yep. Right then. Awesome. Run a tree. Yep, you're Lou. Right, that being the end of that video. Bit different than our other Tinkering Tuesdays videos. Bear in mind we weren't necessarily just on the workbench, but we had something that needed to be doing and didn't have time to film. What would have been on the workbench was a couple of starter motors of the Antar. So if you like the video, give us the old thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.